Hello and welcome. So in this video, I want to break down our inbound marketing strategy for CSM that we've been running since all of 2025. So what I've done here is had a keen focus on what gets the vast majority of our spend, which is 90% plus, and that all goes towards LinkedIn ads. So LinkedIn is something we've introduced into the CSM inbound funnel over the past probably 6 to 8 months. So before that, we had tested out one-off burst campaigns, small promoted posts, and so on. But I guess in terms of our framing and how we think about these campaign structures has completely evolved over the last few years. So I want to do a bit of a high-level breakdown of how we're thinking about it both for our own brand, but ultimately for our clients' businesses too, and how you'd be able to take some of these learnings and implement them into your own business. So first and foremost, I want to have a look at the different campaign structures that you can actually run through. So we have 4 different options here. And again, it really depends on your business, the nuances of your product or services, how developed you are from an online perspective, how you currently win business, and all of the specifics obviously give you that context to know which is more applicable or which would serve your business best. So that's really, really important to keep in mind. And it's the same with both any channel strategy or anything you do in general. But to break down some of the different options, this is basically how you set up your ad campaigns. So when you go into the LinkedIn platform, and this also is relevant across, Google Ads, Meta, basically other ways in which you can try and build and scale a profitable ad campaign, which is ultimately what the goal is. So the goal is to get winning formulas and winning ads that you can then replicate over time, that you know are a success for your business. So as an example, I'll just go through option 1. Okay, so you would have a general campaign group. Maybe that might be tied in with a service or product line that you do. And within that general campaign group, that might be for the core option of what you do. So let's just say for ourselves, it might be something around marketing or growth, really broad, in a broad sense of how you can help. And within the structure of that campaign, you do stuff called top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So that's an element of how you can break that up. This might be then something more specific. Okay, maybe you're running a particular offer, or there's, you're trying to match your product or service more specifically to a time of the year. So it's a more seasonal based campaign, or maybe it's, maybe you buy product in from abroad and you're able to get a special rate. This would be again where you just introduce that into a new separate group and run a similar structure. So again, on this one, really, really simplified management, especially maybe if someone within your business is managing these campaigns and they're new to it. This is really simple and a good starting point. They're really good for always on campaigns. Always on meaning, these types of advertisements, these messages within this platform could always be on. They don't have to come on and off. And you can introduce new stop-start campaigns, burst campaigns as we call them. Again, quite a simple setup as well when you've limited budget. In that it just gives you that simplified structure. You don't need to overcomplicate it, especially if your budget is relatively small, and it helps with general promo. Again, without going through all of the specifics within here on all the other ones, I'm just going to also have a quick focus on option number 2. So let's just jump into that. Okay, so what you might have here is basically where you want to start to gain more insights and learnings from the specific setup of your campaign. Okay, so you would have a campaign group that's all around top of funnel, and within that there's different types of ad creatives in essence. So in here we have top of funnel campaign only dedicated to single image. We have ones dedicated to video ads. We have ones dedicated to thought leader ads. Similar here as well. We have a campaign group middle funnel, bottom of funnel, and here's an ability to do a special group. So why would you use this? Okay, so you do this if you wanted really granular and detailed performance tracking. It's probably suitable for teams who also are running across other channels and are trying to determine this channel strategy across, other go-to-market functions in the business. It's really good for having a deep analysis and feedback on specialized ad formats. So again, let's say you want to introduce thought leader ads for some of the key execs within your business. Having an understanding at this more granular level will give you that feedback that you want. Again, when there's frequent adjustments, let's say big budget changes, big creative changes, and so on, this is a great option, and it enables that deeper layer of audience targeting. So again, this is really, really good, but for the vast majority of companies that we're chatting to, which are legacy businesses, mid-tier in nature, they've done well on offline, this might be, as a first stepping stone, a little bit too granular to go for that. you guys will go through these if I send over the Figma after, so feel free to have a look. But what I wanted to actually do is, outside of the campaign breakdown, I wanted to do an overview on basically how we're considering these two things, which are really, really important. Okay, so number one, depending on how the setup you have there, you're going to be looking at, okay, how should we break down our budget? Okay, so quite typically, most businesses will want to jump in and spend all of their budget, or at least focus on the people at that point of decision. Okay, in B2B, in complex sales cycles, where your product and service is nuanced, unfortunately, it's not a quick win with LinkedIn ads. The same with on all online marketing and online advertising specifically. The people who are at that point of decision, of course, you can show up at that time and hopefully, get a sales call, get a product sale, whatever, again, is specific to your business. But ultimately, for you to win market share, for you to get, market awareness in general, you need to be having a budget and a focus across the other stages. Really, really simple. So as an example, this would be something we'd recommend within a lot of the B2B legacy businesses we have. So a breakdown of at least 60% of your budget going to top of funnel. And this is basically the majority of people in your market who do not know what you offer and don't know the problems or the solutions that you can offer them to what they're currently experiencing. The middle of the funnel, again, let's just say it's around 20% to 30%. So this is people who have started to engage with you and have a smaller understanding of who you are, what you do, but maybe aren't at that point of decision. And ultimately then you're trying to move as many people down to this final stage, which is, again, all really, really simple and marketing fundamentals. But to take it that layer deeper with LinkedIn ads of how you can be more specific with this. So again, this will be something decided upon in the boardroom first and foremost, where you're saying you're giving your marketing director, you're giving your partner, your outside partner as an example, a thumbs up on, okay, this makes sense, it makes logical sense, we're trying to move people through this, but we understand if we're not introducing new audiences to who we are, what we do, how we can help them, well, none of this works. So yeah, of course, ultimately we could set up a campaign type, trying to just get people to book a call straight away, but you run out of your audience pretty quickly, and now you're just throwing good money after bad in terms of starting with a wrong strategy, and now you're trying to chase wins off the back of it. This was maybe the biggest unlock for ourselves and with customers in terms of how they should set up this breakdown and how it should correlate to this. So no matter what setup you do here, right, whichever one is more specific to your business, this is really, really an important unlock for LinkedIn ads, especially for legacy B2B customers that we work with, okay? So top of funnel is obviously people who are unaware of your business in simple terms. There's other variations of that, but that is it in its simple format. A way for us to create new audiences, okay, because a lot of the products we'll be working with within, or services we'll be working with within B2B isn't mass market ultimately, okay? So we don't want to just open it up to Ireland and the UK if that's where your audience is, or include international markets, let's say in the US. We obviously want to add a layer of targeting to that, okay? And generally, a lot of the customers we work with have a niche offering in that they might have around the world maybe 50,000 customers, potential customers, of which they're likely, if their company does unbelievable for the next 10 years, they might get 5,000 of them. They currently have 500. These are, and even on that side, we work with some businesses, they might have 65 customers, potential customers globally. Okay, so again, that maybe is too niche to ever use LinkedIn ads, but in that more mid-tier, what you're trying to do is make sure that you're not just completely wasting your money. So with top of funnel audiences, you can do two things. One, you can build the attributes within audiences in the LinkedIn targeting, which I won't go through today, but similar to other platforms, you can target by job title, by industry, by role, by seniority, by more characteristics about that person. And those are definitely ones you should build out and name. And that's a great way to test. So you can build out multiple audiences within LinkedIn. But outside of that, you need to work with people on your BD team, your sales team, your prospecting team, anyone who's involved in a commercial role and has created a set targeted list of accounts. These are the lists that you need to correspond to LinkedIn. So maybe there's an element of data enrichment to ensure that we have their LinkedIn, we have target accounts and contacts, we have their LinkedIn details, we have their email, and so on and so forth. And when we put that list together, we can upload that into LinkedIn and name that a specific campaign. So let's just pretend it's US pharmaceuticals, of a certain revenue range. You've built that now on Excel, Google Sheets, you upload it within LinkedIn, you name it that specific campaign, and you're trying to build out as much of those specific campaigns. So even if your campaigns are running really well, you and your team and the commercial team are trying to figure out, okay, well, what are new angles we can take here? What are new audiences we can create? And we bring these into LinkedIn. We build audiences within there, both through the audience attributes and through this, upload method in essence. And these are basically how we always give the platform new audiences of which to target. So that is phase one. Phase two is middle funnel. So these are people who have some engagement with the brand or business, okay? And how do we decipher that, okay? Well, multiple ways. One, we're going to have all different types of ad types within this side of the campaigns. Again, depending on the structure, but we'll have all these different video ads, thought leaders, single image, text, and so on and so forth. But the next layer down is only reserved for people who have given some bit of an engagement with the business. That could be through the company page, it could be through watch the video, it could be through a like or an engagement, could be through some action on a website, maybe they viewed a key page, some basically form of stepping into our world. Now, is that an absolute perfect science? Does it mean that people who aren't in your ICP will do that? Of course. That's why, again, this layer before that is so important. So again, we want to make sure that we're as conscious and intentional here, so that one layer down, that we know a lot of people who are showing that next sign of coming into our world, we are confident that they are the right people. And again, it's not going to be 100% success rate, but as much as possible. That makes the final layer even more easy, because it means that when we show different ad types that maybe are more direct, you are maybe asking for, some version of a call, you are pushing to an audit, a consultation, price inquiry, whatever those questions or whatever those asks and offers are for your particular business, that you're doing that now on even deeper audience signals is the best way to frame it. So again, they've been in this, let's say, group and audience within LinkedIn for a set period of time, and that you now are more confident in putting spend here. So let's just say you're running 10K a month. If this is getting $2,000, it's the effectiveness of that has just completely gone through the roof. So this is a setup we have completely set up within our own business. For a more specific rationale, we would basically build out different audiences, a lot obviously in Ireland as an example, but some in the UAE, some in the UK, some in the US. We're trying to basically find, for us, legacy companies is how we determine our client type, but that obviously then has more specific industries within that. So legacy isn't a term used as an industry type, it's more of a characteristic and an attribute. So for us then, we'll build out cold audiences with Rory and his team around pharma, around manufacturing, around specific types of manufacturing, and basically, and a wide variety of other professional services and so on, so that we can build out these attributes within here, and that over time they filter in down. You'll see this then as a broad example here, okay? So I won't go through all of these ads, but what we have here is basically a batch of single image ads that will allow you at the top of funnel to learn who's going to come down, right? So these are just old basically graphics that we've done just to show for this example. And here's lots of different types that we can build in here. And these are basically just there as a way to try and get engagement from the customer. We have different types of video ads as well, where we're trying to get people tied in with, watching a certain length in the video. And over time then we'll have more specific messaging. So we could have more thought leader ads around our story so people get to know us. And again, over time as well, we might show different case study videos, more thought leader posts as well. There's others that we haven't included in here as well. But basically we might be more specific around the types of ad assets and creatives that we're showing here. So the main learning from all of this, depending on, there's text ads in here, there's all these different things. The main way in which to think about LinkedIn ads is all correlated into, the setup here. The actual ad creative is really, really important, but a video, as an example, can live at any stage of the funnel. It's more now tied in with what someone is saying. So, the what I'm saying here will basically determine, does that sit for someone who does or doesn't know us, or should that sit, for someone who's engaged with the business for the last 3 to 5 months? Because, if I'm just asking for a call straight off the bat, or I'm asking for us to do an audit with a business straight off the bat, that doesn't make sense for an audience member who's never heard of us. Whereas if there has been some relevance to them over a set period of time, getting case studies, getting testimonial videos, getting, more direct asks from myself or Rory or someone else on the team at a later stage in the funnel, that is going to land a lot better and help your ads be a lot more effective. So Yeah, in really simple terms, this is, a short snippet of the setup and structure. Again, I've pulled in some ads here, lots aren't shown, but this is more, I think, the most important part of the video. So hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself. Obviously, our head of performance, Mishka, is also an absolute genius on all things LinkedIn ads as well. So she helps with our client campaigns and also everything that's within here. So please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or shoot me an email. Tig at csmagency.ie would be happy to help. Cheers, guys.